None of these actors are old enough for this. Hello everyone, I'm author R.L. Raintree. This is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. The Burrows is a golden age sci-fi horror about accepting mortality and aging. It's a mix between Get Out, Cocoon, Scream, and Thursday Night Murder Club. That being said, these people have aged so gracefully that it is extremely difficult for me to accept that these are helpless elderly people who even need to be in a retirement home. And I understand they're celebrities, they're wealthy, but even if they weren't, if I saw these people walking down the street with their particular costume design on and their characters' personalities, I would not think that these people need to be in, for lack of a better term, an old folks home. Geena Davis and Alfred Molina deliver the best performances. In fact, there's a moment that most of you may catch, unless you're too young, that is a callback to Thelma and Louise. Fans of sci-fi and creature horror are definitely going to appreciate the concept of the creature. Without giving too much away, essentially you have these people in a retirement community and they all seem to die under mysterious circumstances, but not so mysterious that you wouldn't expect it of people who are elderly. One person disappears essentially after being sent into surgery. Other people have certain types of cancer. Other patients seem to be suffering from dementia. These are all people that you would expect to expire a little bit sooner than anticipated. Everything seems fine if you're outside the community. But if you're inside of the community, there are a lot of clues that tells you there is definitely something much darker at play. But when you're elderly, nobody's listening to you. I definitely loved every minute of this series. I watched every episode in one sitting. It was definitely a binge watch. It's not one of those series where I felt it should have just been a film, a one and done. Though I do feel it was complete. There was a final moment in the final scene that could be an open ending. It could lead you to think that there's more to come, but honestly, it's just kind of like a wink and a nod. It could easily be the end of the series as a whole. People who did not like this series, I found, are people who just don't enjoy seeing older actors. But I prefer older actors because they're seasoned. They know what they're doing. I know I'm going to get my money's worth if they're in a film, unless of course the writing is just that bad. But if you don't have a problem with older actors, you know, having a lot of fun, being on a mystery, being involved in action, which based off of Liam Neeson and Jason Statham movies, I would think most people are perfectly fine with it. Unfortunately though, you shouldn't get too attached to it because while I was preparing to record this video, I found out it was already canceled. I had no idea that there was even a second season at play here. I will say that, like I said, this season is complete. You really don't need a second season. Now, because Netflix doesn't tell us what type of ratings they have, or maybe they do and I just don't know where to look. I don't know if it's not coming back because people didn't watch it or people didn't like it. Everyone I know who watched it liked it. It was really good. It was self-contained, no cliffhangers, everything was solved, there are no questions left behind. And like I said, the final scene might make you wonder, but then it's also not that deep that you feel like it's a cliffhanger or it's too open of an ending. It is complete with its first season. I have to say that as much as I would love to see this continue, this is one of those series where we simply don't need a second season. And I could see how this could go on, and I would definitely watch it to see where they take the story. But let's be honest, it's fully self-contained. It didn't actually need a second season, but it definitely deserves your watch. There is no other rating that was appropriate for this series other than 5 stars. The acting was as wonderful as you would expect. I love the set design. Of course, the creature wasn't perfect. I don't know if it was CGI or what, but at the same time, it adds to the mild campiness of the whole series, of the story. But I loved everything about it. I loved the story. I loved the set design. I loved the actors. And I loved how each episode had such a rich story to tell outside of the main story without taking us off track. I mean, Alfred Molina's character lost his wife, and he was pretty much there because his wife spent her money on, you know, on one of the houses there as part of their retirement. So he's kind of obligated to be there, but he also can't drive. You have another couple who said, you know what, why be out there in a world where things are so expensive at our age? Let's go somewhere and let someone else take care of us. Other people are there because they're sick and can't take care of themselves at all. So everyone has a different story going on in their lives. Some of them are brilliant doctors, some of them are brilliant artists. But at the end of the day, their separate stories didn't distract from the main story, which is what's really going on and what's hiding in the oven. I have always been and will always be a fan of older actors in films of all genres. I think that the way Hollywood just discards actors once they hit a certain age is such a loss of talent that needs to be explored. So I will always watch something with older actors in it. Let me know what TV show or film you watched that had older actors, that sold you on older actors being the way to go. And let me know if this had gotten a second season, would you have watched it? Once again, I am author R.L. Raintree. This has been Reels and Reads. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching.